As wildfires continue to rage across the country, Alberta has called for backup to fight the flames. Roughly 200 firefighters from South Africa arrived before sunrise in Edmonton on Friday. A second group of 200 is set to arrive this week. In total, about 2,000 firefighters from around the world and other provinces have answered Alberta's call for help. Trevor Abrahams is the managing director of South Africa's Working on Fire, the organization training and deploying teams to Canada, and he joins us from Edmonton. Trevor, it's really nice to meet you.
Good afternoon, David.
Tell me a bit about your organization and the work that you're doing.
So we've been around for 20 years, and our mission is to recruit unemployed youth. We train them up into professional firefighters, and we promote the sort of development of these young people within the ranks within the firefighting fraternity. And 60% of our managers today are actually former firefighters. And we've had a proud record of having 30% women as part of our firefighter contingent over the years. And in our management, 51% women. So it's quite a change. But many of our firefighters actually go on to more permanent jobs in the commercial sector, in the government, in the police, defense force, conservation agencies, and even a few into entrepreneurial roles. So it's a government-funded, development program which has been going for the past 20 years.
It's a fascinating idea, and already right now there's been one deployment from South Africa to Alberta with another on its way. So where are these firefighters currently stationed?
So our firefighters are currently in the area of Edison, in the Deep Creek complex and Pembina complex. Those are the fires that are surrounding this area. And unfortunately, the weather has gone a bit south on us over the last few days. So the fires become more intense and resulted in the evacuation of Edison for the second time.
So what are you hearing from your firefighters that are out there on the front lines about the conditions that they're facing?
Well, it's quite hectic at the moment, to say the least. Obviously, the priority is to try and protect the assets and people, but also to secure the boundaries of this fire. But 2 days ago, all the firefighters on the ground were withdrawn from the fire line because the wind was just becoming too erratic and too strong. And obviously, had just to rely on the water bombing from the air. So it's quite a volatile situation at the moment. And unfortunately, not much relief in form of weather projections. We've had a bit of a smattering of rain, but certainly not enough to dampen the flames.
How does what you're seeing in Alberta compare with some of the other things you've seen over the years, over the 20 years you've been in operation?
Yeah, so we've been here 5 times, so the reality we're seeing here is not completely new to us. But compared to South Africa, the scale of operations here is clearly in another league. It's much, much larger, much more complex. And, we really learn a lot from the kind of planning and the staging of operations in Canada. So, yes, on the one hand, we've seen it before. We've participated in the fall, but it's a scale that we don't commonly encounter in South Africa.
Yeah, our federal minister for emergency preparedness said today this is the worst wildfire season of the 21st century, and we're not even through June. I just wonder how does that compare to other years that you've seen throughout your career in other parts of the world?
Well, we were looking at the statistics for Canada, and I think the big issue here is that we're early June, and you've already exceeded the loss in terms of acreage that you lose throughout the entire fire season, which goes typically till September. So if you look at the graph for 23, it looks like a cobra standing up, whereas the others are all sort of sloping up towards the end of the fire season. But you've already exceeded the totals in the previous years. So it is an unusual year in terms of intensity, extent, and the damage it's creating. And I think this is a reflective of the kind of impact of climate change that we're seeing. And, including the smoke pollution that not only stays in Canada, but affected your neighbors down south to the point where aircraft were grounded.
A cobra standing up is a vivid and unfortunate image, but it really does tell the story. And
Yeah.
you've got 200 firefighters here, another 200 to come. Each team is deployed for 35 days. I mean, how are your people holding up? Do you think there's a chance that we're going to see another deployment before this is all over?
Yeah, our guys are quite young and very energetic, as you saw when they arrived, and very excited and interested in doing it, because for them it's part of the recognition that comes through this program. And to be recognized on the international stage is even much more of a credit to them. So they're quite enthusiastic. All the reports I get every morning, the crews are at full strength and quite motivated to continue. So for them, it's a feather in their cap having participated in such an initiative. So our second team comes in here on the 15th, and we know that Alberta's already requested additional resources from the sort of clearinghouse, the Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Centre. And who knows? I mean, I don't think there's a clear picture as to what the rest of the fire season is going to be like. I mean, we still have the rest of June and July and August and September to deal with.
No, it's a grim outlook. I don't think there's any other way to describe it. But we did see that great and joyful footage from when the first deployment touched down at the Edmonton airport. I just wonder, how have your people been received by the community?
Well, I think, both the energy that they exude has attracted them. We came in at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
There wasn't much other security personnel and a few cleaners. Everybody was filming them, but obviously coming to the fire-prone areas, I mean, people welcome the relief, and we've been very well received here in Canada so far. And our interaction with our Canadian firefighters, our counterparts on the fire line, is also something that has to be seen.
Well, Trevor Abrams, your people are doing incredible work, and I'm sure Alberta and all of Canada is very grateful for the support that you've provided through your organization. South Africa is working on fire. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thanks very much.